I've gotten frustrated before and just gone, all right, I'm just going to throw my spare ball. It doesn't have the right shape.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
It did. 2 Mondays ago when we had World Draw 15 and 16, I threw a 650 series.
All right, welcome. This is the 24th of February, 2024. We are at Laurel Lanes in Port Angeles. This is the James & Associates Open and the John's Classic Auto 205 and Under Division. We are at your top 5 TV finalists. I'll give you the names here in a second. So in our open division today, we had 27 bowlers. We cut to the top 8 and paid the top 9. In the under division, we had 18 bowlers. We cut to the top 6, and now we are at the TV finals with the top 5 in both divisions. In your under division, your number 5 seed is Zach Cox. He is facing your number 4 seed in Alex Smith. Your under division is on lanes 13 and 14. In your open division, which is bowling on lanes 11 and 12, we have number 5 seed Keith Beck facing number 4 seed Eric Lundgren. Bowlers are taking the warm-up tosses right now, and in just a second, we will start off with our first match in the finals of the James & Associates Open and John's Classic Auto 205 and Under. I always log in and look at my broadcast and see, what the picture quality looks like. Yeah. So I can also see, what's in, because sometimes what's in my picture here isn't what's in the picture there. All right, so Alex, you have choice. Start first on lane 13 or finish first.
Choice? Start on 13.
So you're going to start on 13. So you'll bowl your one frame. Zach will start off on 14. Okay, Eric, you have choice. Okay.
Wait till Leo's ready.
Oh no, it'll make the finals like you do all the fucking time.
Hey. Broadcasting. Okay, bowlers, go out and shake hands, please. Keith.
That means the cops will see it.
All right, bowlers are going out to shake hands. Once again, we are at Laurel Lanes in Port Angeles. This is the James & Associates Open. Your open division is on lanes 11 and 12, and John's Classic Auto 205 and Under, which is bowling on lanes 13 and 14. So for the open division, Eric Lundgren was the higher qualifier, and he wants Keith to start first, and Keith starts off with a high pocket to lead the 4-pin. Now we have Alex Smith coming up on lane 13. And he goes in really light, leaves the 1, 2, 4. And Keith covers his spare. I want to thank those of you that are logging in on Facebook Live. Welcome to another presentation of KSBO.
didn't put the names from Step Ladder. Do I have to put them in myself? I didn't know I transferred from the semis to the finals, but it just didn't put anybody. I gotta remember how I did it.
Well, you could always go back and do this later.
Yeah, I can.
You don't want me to worry about this now?
No, I mean, unless you want to play around with it, that's fine.
I'll take a look.
Okay. 'Cause I remember how to do it, but right now I don't remember how to do it.
That's an oxymoron. Or just a moron.
Well, yeah, some would say I'm just a moron, so that checks with chart. All right, back to the action. So we had Zach Cox show up on lane 14. He left the 10 pin, and Eric, I didn't see what ball he left, what pin he left, but he spared that up. Now he goes on lane 11 and gets oh no, I'm sorry. That's 2 in a row for Eric. Got to look at the right score. And Zach covered his 10 pin. And he covers it. And Keith goes up right through the nose, leaves the big 4. And Keith opens in the second frame. All right, Zach up on 13. I'll give you their scores, how well they did today here in just a second. And Zach gets a nice strike. In the meantime, Keith comes in light, leaves the 1-2-5.
No, I know. I have to eat something to take a break next time. I might cut it. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, you got to manage your patience after.
There's too many long balls.
Keith, 1 bowler at a time, please. All right, so Alex leaves the, what do we got there? The 2-4-5. Got Eric coming up on lane 12. So for Eric today, Eric shot games of 237, 202, 190 as Zach Cox covers his spare. 237 and 224 to qualify with a 1091. In the semifinals, Eric shot 223, 212, and 172, winning one of his match play matches for 30 additional bonus pins as he leaves a weak 10, and he ended up as the number 4 seed. For Alex, who's coming up on lane 13, Alex shot today 169, 215, 188, 197, and 178 for a 947 qualifying score. And that was a nice strike there by Alex. In the semifinals, Alex went 185, 189, and 223, winning 2 of his match play matches for 60 additional bonus pins to be the number 4 seed. And Eric covers his spare. Oh, and Zach crosses over, leaves the 6-10. Now we got Eric coming up on lane 11. So for Zach today, as Eric gets another strike. For Zach today, he shot games of 159, 170, 213, 224, and 179 for a 945 qualifying score. As Keith leaves the baby split. In the semifinals, Zach went 224, 176, and 173, winning one of his match play matches for 30 additional bonus pins and the number 5 seed. And good cover there by Keith on that baby split. Zach leaves the 3-pin. Meantime, Keith strikes. Zach to cover his pin. Ooh, and he misses. All right, Eric coming up on lane 12. Oh, and he gets a lucky roll on the 5-pin. Ooh, and Alex crosses Brooklyn, gets the strike. All right, Eric stepping up on lane 11, leading Keith Beck, 99 to 72. Little bit of a lop, comes in light, tomahawks the 8-pin. That gives him 3 in a row. He's only got 1 spare so far this game. 5 strikes. Alex coming up on lane 13, working on a double. Goes right through the nose, leaves the 6-pin. And Keith just is in a hurry. He keeps forgetting to wait for the other bowler. He's just in a hurry. He spares his 6-10. Alex coming up to cover his 6-pin. And he misses it. That's a whiff in the 5th. And Keith strikes in the 7th.
Pretty good chatter.
Excellent. All right, Zach coming up on lane 14, in the 5th, working on an open. Crosses over Brooklyn, leaves the baby split. Eric goes way out. That ball never came back, leaves the 1, 2, 4, 7. And Zach picks it up the hard way. And for those of you wondering, let me pull it up here. Today we were bowling on tungsten. So we were bowling on the element pattern tungsten from Kegel. All right, Zach up on 13. Oh, little high, gets a lucky kick on the 4-pin. It's what we call a trick 4. It gives him a strike in the 6th. Currently leading Alex Smith. In the meantime, Eric got a spare and recovers nicely. Gets a strike in the 8th, has a commanding lead over Keith Beck. And Alex gets a strike in the 6th. Keith goes high, leaves the big 4. So that's the second big 4 for Keith. He had a big 4 in the 2nd frame. So after 6 frames in your under division, Alex is trailing Zach 94-98, so really close. Need a score correction.
Take the one off.
Oh, nice strike there by Alex. That's 2 in a row. So we need to do a score correction for Keith because his ball came out of the gutter. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Evan Smith.
Why is that one set up short bracket?
Because I guess maybe I didn't put enough brackets in there.
Where exactly put in that?
He's ready to be done.
Oh yeah.
All right, good strike there by Zach.
I should have had a beer. I don't have anything in the bag.
I need you to take people out of it. I need you to take people out of it so I can fix it. All right, so had a problem with my bracket structure in tournamentbull.com, trying to fix that. In the meantime, Eric has won his match. He's finishing up there, gets a lucky tap on the 10 pin. Over here in the under, Alex chops his spare, which was the 2-5. That's an open in the 8 for Alex. In the meantime, Zach Cox has 3 in a row. So after 8 frames, Zach is leading 148 to 140. Zach is working on
He's got him out.
3 in a row. All right, so Eric finishes with a game of 251. Keith finishes with a game of 171. Keith will finish in 5th place, take home a check for $250. And Eric will move on to face the number 3 seed in Jim Monahan. And that's another open for Alex. And that's 4 in a row for Zach. Won't let me do it. Okay. Still says there's entries in it.
He just said he
Says there's 5 entries in it.
She doesn't care.
This is,
Oh, I'm gonna have to.
this was too much fun for her.
She did all right.
She did.
All right, Zach going. Nice strike there by Zach. That's 5 in a row. And that will cinch up the match. That makes it official. Zach Cox will defeat Alex Smith. And Zach will move on to face the number 3 seed in Becky Gratzer. And today, Alex will finish in 5th place and take home a check for $140. Oh, a solid 9-pin there on the fill for Zach. That was a great shot. And he woofs his 9-pin, but finishes with a really good game of 226.
Figure it out.
Now I'm just making a new one. Okay, tell them to populate under step, under finals.
Okay.
All right.
Here or Silverdale?
Alex finished with a game of 169. All right, we'll be back to hand out some money and our next match. All right, so in the John's Classic Auto 205 division, Zach Cox defeats Alex Smith 226 to 169. Zach will move on to face number 3 seed and Becky Gratzer. In the James and Associates Open, Eric Lundgren defeats Keith Beck 251 to 171. Eric will move on to face Jim Monahan. James and Associates Open, Eric Lundgren defeats Keith Beck 251 to 171. Eric will move on to face Jim Monahan. Okay, are we good now?
Yes, 226 to 169.
All right, let's hand out some money. So finishing in 6th place in your John's Classic Auto 205 America division for $115, Daniel McFadden. All right, let's hand out some money. So finishing in 6th place in your John's Classic Auto 205 America division for $115, Daniel McFadden. And in your James Associates Open, finishing in 9th place for $120, Leo Fenari Jr. And in your James Associates Open, finishing in 9th place for $120, Leo Fenari Jr. Finishing in 8th place for $130, Jeff Tapp, carrying that lead. Finishing in 7th place for $150, Jimmy Dillingham.
Yeah, but it's no 3-year
And finishing in 6th place for $165, Austin Gratzer. And finishing in 6th place for $165, Austin Gratzer.
So you have this one. So you go to KSBO, and you
I would expect nothing less from a Hall of Famer. All right, 2 balls in each lane, sir. I would expect nothing balls in each lane, ma'am. All right, 2 balls in each lane, sir. There you go. There you go.
He doesn't have one, so he has to use this. If no 3-year average is the highest 20, 22, 23 KSBO average.
Hey, you're not gonna like mine. I'm a 206.
I know.
Can I sub in your league one more time so I'm no longer 206? I bowled 21 games in your league this season. I'm not a 206 average.
I know, but they'll do the same thing that they'll have to use my because you know is 3 years of the book average. So right there.
Oh, so it doesn't cost. Oh,
All right, Becky, you have a choice.
Because you guys don't have a 3-year book average, which is he's a 211.
He's around 13.
With a 2-year.
Okay.
So you, Gary, and
We got
under 624.
All right, here we go. Go ahead and shake hands, please. All right, here we go in our next match. In your John's Classic Auto 205 and under division, we have the number 5 seed of Zach Cox facing the number 3 seed in Becky Gratzer. In your James and Associates Open, we have number 4 seed Eric Lundgren facing number 3 seed Jim Monahan. Becky, being the higher qualifier, wants Zach to start, and in the open division, Jim wants to start.
Close to that 620 in order to
And Zach starts with a tap on the 7. All right, now we got Becky up on 14. Jim, in the meantime, left the 610. He's going to cover that right now. And he does cover that.
You guys can have fun. That's not too hard. What is that? Oh yeah, it is. The year is already going by so fast. In a couple weeks.
And Becky gets another strike. That's 2 in a row for her.
Neither did Gary, and neither did Simon. None of them. They were.
They had no shot. Never been able to find a shot. I watched Curtis right next to us. I watched him. He just left 8, 10. Left 2.
Sunny was not. It just wasn't his day.
All right, Zach gets a strike of his own. So in the under division, both bowlers are starting off with strikes. So after I created the new step ladder for the under, I went back to the old step ladder. And it's right. I don't understand it.
No, it's short.
Well, if you guys
Short one,
you
Dave.
should get it, your money in.
4, 5, 3. Oh yeah, you're right. It is supposed to. Okay.
They're only allowing 40.
Okay. Anyway, I can't delete it because it still has people assigned to it, so I'm just going to leave it the way it
He
is.
said he assigned them to it, but then he removed them, but he can't remove them from assigning the finals.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well,
That's fine. It'll figure it out.
figure it out.
As long as we got the right one in there, that works.
You're right.
I doubt.
Sorry, we're messing around with tournamentbowl.com.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, good bowling.
All right, Zach covers his spare. Eric got a strike in the second. Now we have Jim Monahan coming up on lane 12. So today, Jim shot games of 199, 193, 200, 220, and 233 to have a 1045 qualifying score. In the semifinals, Jim shot 179, 266, and 183, winning 2 of his match play matches for 60 additional bonus pins to be the number 3 seed. Becky Gratcher coming up on lane 14. Today she shot 216, 244, 185. As she goes, Brooklyn leaves the 610. In the fourth game, she shot 152, and she finished up with a 205 with a 10:02 qualifying score. And in the semifinals, she shot 179, 205, 185, winning all 3 of her match play matches for 90 additional bonus pins to be the number 3 seed. And she covers her spare nicely. Jim, on the meantime, he leaves a 610 of his own to cover. Oh, and Jim does the tomahawk chop.
That's crazy.
He chops it, chops the 6 pin off the 10. That gives him an open in the third. Looked like Becky was a little fast with that one. Doesn't quite get up to the pocket, leaves the 1-2-8. So he's got the sleeper back there. Eric up on lane 12, working on a strike. A little bit of loft, out to about the 10 board, doesn't come back. He also leaves the 1-2-8. And Becky covers her spare. And very nicely done. Eric covers his. Now we got Zach coming up on lane 14. And Zach leaves the 10 pin. And nice strike there by Eric. So those of you that may be just now joining us, we are up at Laurel Lanes in Port Angeles. This is the 24th of February. And we are here for the John's Classic Auto 205 and under and the James & Associates Open. And Zach covers his 10 pin nicely. In the open division, we had a total of 27 bowlers. We cut to the top 8, paid the top 9. And Jim kind of wiggles his hips there, hoping for a carry, and he ends up leaving the 5-7. In the under division, we had 18 bowlers, and we cut to the top 6. And today we are playing on the Kegel element pattern called Tug Spin. When I do this video for television broadcast on BCAT, I'll throw a graphic up of the pattern. And when I do the newsletter and post it on Facebook, I'll also have a figure of the pattern. All right, Zach coming up on lane 13, coming into the 5th frame, working on a spare, leading by 3 pins, 78 to 75, and he leaves the 2-8. Excuse me. It took a drink and it went down the wrong pipe. All right, good spare there by Zach. Keeping it clean through 5. And Jim covers his spare. And despite the 2 opens in the 3rd and 4th frame for Jim, he's still in this match. All it takes is one miscue by Eric, and Jim will be right back in there. Meantime, Becky's coming up on lane 14. Goes Brooklyn and leaves the 3-6-9. That one was a little left off, right off her hand. Eric, gets a light carry on that one. Things just kind of fall to the right. That gives him 2 in a row. So after 5 frames in the open division, Eric is leading Jim 79 to 67. Over there on lane 14, Becky misses her spare attempt, so that's an open in the 5th. And she currently trails Zach Cox 89 to 96. That's right. that one. Oh, that one just never hooked up. Leaves the 1-2-4. Eric coming up on 11. A little bit of loft on that one, but it sits really nice high in the pocket, and that gives him 3 in a row. All right, good cover there by Becky. She is still in this match. Jim needs a strike right here. Oh, it looks like he had a little hang up there at the bottom. Yep, he's looking at his thumb. He leaves the 6-7 split. Zach up on 14, working on a spare. Nice flush. That gives him a strike in the 6th. And unfortunately, Jim does not cover that split. That gives him another open. That's 3 in this game, 2 of them being splits. Both splits came on lane 12. Waiting in the wings is Anthony Sanders. Oh, and Zach gets the lucky kiss on the 9-10. And waiting in the wings for the underdivision is Hannah Sutton, who bowled really well today. Jim has a 10 pin to cover. Nice strike there by Becky in the 7th. Jim to cover his 10. And he does.
You guys already read them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of here?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. Hey, thanks for your help today. Appreciate it. And Becky covers her spare. So, so those of you watching, see what do we got here? We got 16 watching. Hey, so starting probably tomorrow, I'll be posting the reserve spot for the next tournament, which is the KSBO Swiss Trios. Cap is 624. You can have one non-KSBO bowler on your team. I'll also be posting teams looking for bowlers and bowlers looking for a team. So that tournament is in 2 weeks. The entry forms are out if you prefer the old way of doing a paper entry form. You can pick them up at the front desks of All-Star, Highjoy, or Laurel Lanes. Nice strike there by Zach. That gives him 3 in a row. But like I said, I'll be posting a reserve spot tomorrow. And Eric gets another light swisher. That makes 5 in a row. And pretty almost, not quite, but almost shuts out Jimmy. Jimmy can punch with a 194. But Eric right now is on a 230 pace. Zach right here working on 3 in a row. Nice strike. That makes a ham bone for Zach. Widens his lead over Becky. Jim finally gets a strike on lane 12. That's only his second strike on lane 12. Like I said, he can still punch. Nice strike there by Becky in the 9th frame. Decent foundation frame. She can finish with a max of 209. Pretty much all Zach has to do is keep it on the lane. And Jimmy gets another strike. That's 2 in a row for him. So good foundation frame. Unfortunately, I think it's a little too little, a little too late for Jimmy. Those 2 splits that he had kind of hurt them. Oh, and Becky gets a tap on the 9 herself. Very nice. That's the first strike in the 10th. Eric tugged on that one just a little bit, comes in high, leaves the 4 pin. That ends his strikes at 5 in a row. He needs to cover this. Nice strike there by Becky. Second one in the 10th. One more to finish at 209. And Eric covers. And that spare will shut out Jim. So Eric will move on. And he gets the pleasure of facing Anthony Sanders in the next match. In the meantime, Becky comes back strong, punches with 4 in a row for a really nice game of 209. And Eric leaves the 5-10 split. Don't know if he was doing an exploratory shot there. I was filling in scores. And Zach leaves a weak 10 on the 10th frame. But that will lock it up. He will move on. Nice cover there by Eric. And then Zach will move on to face number 2 seed of Hannah Sutton. And Eric finishes with a game of 222. And Zach finishes with a really nice game of 234. So Becky will go home in 4th place and take home a check for $160. And Jim will finish in 4th place and take home a check for $280. Okay, and we'll be right back with our next match. All right, so in your Jones Classic Auto 205 division, Zach Cox defeats Becky Gratzer 234 to 209. Zach will move on to face the number 2 seed in Hannah Sutton. And in the James and Associates Open, Eric Lundgren defeats Jim Monahan 222-160. Eric will move on to face Anthony Sanders. Two balls on each lane. good at this because it's easy to talk to yourself, I guess. I don't know. All right, Hannah, you have choice. You want to end first, okay? So you will start on lane 14. Zach, you'll be on 13. Anthony? Anthony, you have choice?
Remind me.
Start first or finish first? Start first or finish first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Which one?
11. Start first.
Okay, yeah, so you'll start on 11. All right, go out and shake hands. All right, here we go for our next match. In your John's Classic Auto 205 and under division, we have number 5 seed Zach Cox trying to walk the ladder, facing number 2 seed in Hannah Sutton. In the James and Associates Open, we have number 4 seed Eric Lundgren also trying to walk the ladder against number 2 Anthony Sanders. Anthony, being the higher qualifier, wants to start first, and Hannah, being the higher qualifier, wants Zach to start first. So here we go. Anthony's going to start us off. And Anthony starts off with a strike. And Zach starts off with a strike. Oh, and Eric gets the lucky trip on the 10. And Hannah starts with a strike. So all 4 bowlers start off with a strike. How striking. I know, keep my day job, right? All right, Hannah coming up on lane 13. Crosses over Brooklyn, avoids the baby split, left only with the 10 pin. And Eric leaves a 10 pin as well. Hannah to cover hers. Nicely done. And Eric covers his. And Zach gets another strike. That's 2 in a row. And good action there for Anthony. That gives him 2 in a row. Oh, that one's a little tight. Crosses over Brooklyn. Leaves the 3, 6, 7, 10 split. One of the easier splits. clip that 3 pin, should take out the 7. Anthony coming up on 11, working on a spare, or excuse me, a double. Comes up high, almost gets the tap on the 7. That could have very easily been a split. And Zach takes out 3, but that is an open in the 3rd. And Anthony covers his 7 pin. All right, so now we got Hannah coming up on lane 14. For Hannah today, she shot games of 161, 195, 265, 255, and finished with a 187. Nice strike. For a 1063 qualifying score. In the semifinals, she shot games of 228, 187, and 212, winning one of her match play matches to be the number 2 seed. Eric lofting the ball again. And that one finished nice, gives him a strike in the 3rd. Hannah coming up in the 4th, working on a strike. Comes up a little high, leaves the 4 pin. Eric comes out again. Ooh, that one hits a little high as well. Unfortunately, leaves the 4-10 split. Hannah covers her 4 pin. Let's see how Eric attacks this. He's going at it with a spare ball. Straight at it. Almost. But not close enough. That leaves him an open in the 4th. All right, Zach stepping up on lane 14, working on an open. Sit. Nice. So Zach comes back, recovers, gets a strike in the 4th. Shot to 4 frames in the under division. Zach Cox is trailing 64-70. And we got Anthony coming up on lane 12. For Anthony today. And that one comes in light. Pins go sideways, missed the 7 pin. So for Anthony, he started off really strong. Started with a 260. Then he followed that up with a 201, 211, and 216, and finished the qualifying with a 207 to have a 1095 qualifying score. And that one was nice and flush there for Zach. In the semifinals, Anthony went 199, 190, and 202, winning all 3 of his match play matches for 90 additional bonus pins to be the number 2 seed. Yeah, let's see, I wasn't giving you total scores. So after the semifinals, Anthony was at 1776. Nice strike there by Hannah. All right, Anthony up at 11, working on a spare. After 4 frames, leading 78-68. That was a little high on the head pin, leaves the 4-7. So Hannah stepping up on 13, working on a strike. That one looks good. And flush, that's a double. And good spare there by Anthony. Waiting in the wings, we have your tournament leaders. In your under division, your tournament leader is Rafe Barone. And in your open division, your tournament leader is Tim Clemens. Oh, and solid 10. That 6 pin just wrapped completely around it. That one's going to be tight. Oh, so tight it was good. It struck. So he's got. So Eric's got a strike in the 5th. Let's see. Now leads 78 to, or excuse me, trails 78 to 96. Zach can cover his 10 pin, trailing right now. And he does cover it. And now covering that spare gives him very slight advantage of 113 to 110. But Hannah is working on a double. A little bit of loft there by Eric. Comes in light. Gets the light carry, the swisher. That gives him 2 in a row. And now Anthony's going to come up on 12, working on 3 spares in a row. Zach liked that one, pumps the fist, says thank you very much. That's a strike in the 7th. Anthony coming up on 12, working on a spare.
There it is.
Sit. And it does. That's a strike in the 6th. So after 6 frames, Anthony has 116. Eric has 98. Eric is working on a double. Hannah let up on her speed just a touch. Goes up high, hits the head pin, leaves the 610. That may be the opening that Zach needs. And she takes over the lead. But Zach is right there. And looks like Anthony may have figured it out. That's 2 in a row. A good spare by Hannah. So now she has taken over the lead by 5 pins, 138 to 133. So we got a back and forth match going on here in the younger division. Eric takes a deep breath, steps up on the approach. Standing on the 35 board with his right foot. Going over 18 at arrows. Comes in light, leaves the bucket. Hannah coming up on 13, also standing on 35. Going over about 20. And comes up high flush, gets stuck with a solid 8. Those of you that know the story, she has been Randy Peterson. And Eric covers the bucket. So after 7 frames in the Oak division, Eric Lundgren is trailing Anthony Sanders 124 to 136. And Hannah covers her 8 pin. So this may be the opening Zach needs to get back in the lead and stay there. Zach comes up in the 8th frame, working on a strike. Eric's going to be first here on 11, working on a spare. A little bit of a loft. High flush. That's a strike in the 8th for Eric. So we're going to have a close match in both regardless. That needs a sit. Very nicely done by Zach. That gives him a double. So now he's got 153 in the 8th to Hannah's 157. Hannah's working on a spare, and Zach is working on a double. Anthony right now leading, working on a double, coming up on lane 12. Standing also 35 with his right. Going over 20. Comes up high, leaves the 4-pin. And Zach is standing, let's see, 32 with his right foot. Going over about 17, but it looks like he missed his mark on that one, sent it too far right. Leaves the 1-2-4-7. And Anthony covers that spare. So after 8 frames, Anthony's lead is now 165 to Eric's 144. All right, Zach to cover the rail here. Easy spare to chop. Oh, just like that, leaves the 1-pin. That is an open in the 9th. You never want to have an open in the foundation frame. That one's going to hurt. So the best Zach can do is 207. And he comes up high on that one. He didn't like the release. But you can't argue with the results. Gets the late fall in the 10-pin. That gives him a strike in the 9th. Leading 185. And Hannah gets a strike in her 9th frame. Yeah, that open for Zach's really going to hurt. Hannah can finish with a 227 to Zach's 207. And Eric coming up in the 9th frame here. A little bit of a loft. Gets flush. 6-pin dies in the gutter. Leaves a 10-pin to pick up. He needed that strike to catch up a little bit with Anthony right there. Oh, and Hannah goes right through the nose, leaves the big 4. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. That hurt. And Eric covers his 10-pin. That gives him a spare in the foundation, trailing 164 to 185 going into the 10th frame. And Hannah takes out 2, finishes with a game of 193. So Zach needs a mark in the 10th and good count. And Eric leaves another 10-pin. Looks like he pulled that one. Oh, but it sits in the oil and he gets a really nice strike there. So right now, Zach needs 6 pins to tie, 7 pins to win. Eric covers his spare, got 183. If he strikes, that's 193. Right now, Anthony has 185, so all Anthony has to do is get 8 or better. A little bit of a loft. Comes in light, leaves another 10. And Eric finishes with a game of 192. And Zach goes Brooklyn, and he gets a lot of pins to fall. He leaves only a 10 pin, but that is enough. He will advance. He will get the honor of facing Rafe Barone for the title. Good job by Hannah today. She will finish in 3rd place and take home a check for $190. And that mark right there for Anthony in the 10th will secure the win for him. He will defeat Eric Lundgren, and Anthony gets the pleasure of facing Tim Clemens. Eric today will finish in third and take home a check for $315. And Zach finished with a 197. And Anthony finishes with 221. Okay, and we'll be right back with your championship match. In your Jones Classic Auto 205 and under division, Zach Cox defeats Hannah Sutton in a very close match, 197-193, and he goes up against the tournament leader in the under division, Rafe Perrone. In the open division, Anthony Sanders defeats Eric Lundgren 221-192. Anthony will move on to face the tournament leader in the open division, Tim Clemens. Two on each lane. Good bowling today, Hannah. right, here we go, guys. All right, here we go. Our championship match. In your Don's Classic Auto, we have number 5 seed Zach Cox trying to walk the ladder. He is facing the tournament leader in Rafe Barone. And in the James and Associates Open, we have number 2 seed Anthony Sanders against number 1 seed Tim Clemens. Tim, being the higher qualifier, wants Anthony to start. And in the under, Rafe being the higher qualifier, he wants to start. And Anthony starts with a lucky tap on the 9-pin. Yeah, it was almost a 4-9, yeah. And here we go with Rafe. Nice high flush strike there. All right, coming up on lane 12, we have Tim Clemens. Tim today, he was our high qualifier. He shot games of 243, 223, 253, as he gets a nice strike there. In the fourth game, he shot 210, and he finished up with a 222 to be the high qualifier with a qualifying score of 1151. In the semifinals, he shot games of 177, 217, and 189, winning 2 of his match play matches to have a 1789 score and capturing the number 1 seed. Zach over there left a 10-pin. And another nice strike there by Tim. So if Tim wins today, he will he will break the tie that he has with Mike Hansen for number 3 all time to hold the number 3 spot all by himself. And Zach covers the spare. So if Tim can win, he will hold the number 3 spot KSBO titles all time. The only 2 people in front of him are Steve Force and Lonnie Sharkey, which have both retired from bowling. And Anthony covers that one very nicely. So both bowlers in the open division start off with a double. All right, Zach coming up on lane 13. Got that one a little wide. Oh, almost leaves the 4-9. Almost trips the 4-9. Fortunately, only left with a 4. And another high strike there by Anthony. That is a turkey for him. All right, so this is our championship match. To give you a little bit of a recap, in our first match, we had Zach Cox against Alex Smith. Zach defeated him 226 to 169. Then Zach went on to defeat Becky Gratzer 209 or 234 to 209, and then he defeated Hannah Sutton 197 193 to have the honor of going against the tournament leader in Rafe Barone. And Tim leaves a weak 10-pin there. In the open division, our first match was Eric Lundgren against Keith Beck. Eric defeated him 251 to 171. And then Eric defeated Jim Monahan 222 to 160, but fell to Anthony Sanders 221 to 192. And so now we have Anthony and Tim going for the championship here. And Tim throws the 10-pin.
It did take you an hour and a half, 60 minutes. That was slow.
My broadcasts aren't rated PG-13.
50% of the population won't even get the joke. Oh no. Push reset. Push reset. I'm not charged this operation. Push the fucking button.
I've heard about double wood from you. Nope. Oh.
This counts. This counts.
Hey, that counts for your score. Hey, I'm the tournament director. Oh, and after that delay, Tim comes up high on the head pin, leaves the 4-7 to pick up. All right, here we go with Rafe. Looked like he pulled that one a little bit, but it sits high, carries. That gives him 3 in a row. Thank you. And Tim covers his spare. All right, Zach coming up on lane 14, working on a spare. On 9 spare, 9 spare to Rafe's turkey. Well, that one gets good action there. That's his first strike of this match. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome. Hope you edit that out, Paul.
I'm on Facebook Live. I can't edit that. I can edit it for TV, though. Oh, and Anthony gets another strike. That is a ham bone for Anthony. Sit. Nice strike. That's a double for Zach. All right, Anthony stepping up on lane 11, working on 4 in a row. Oh, almost had the 9-10. Or excuse me, the 8-10. 10 falls. Now he's left only with the 8. Oh, Rafe gets a trip on the 4. That gives him 4 in a row. Oh, and Anthony almost hooks past it. And he comes back and goes, wowza. All right, Rafe going for 5 in a row. That one came up a little too high on the head pin. He's left at the 4-7. The last 2 shots he flirted with that high strike. That one kind of bit him. And that stubborn 10 pin. And Rafe covers his spare. And Rafe has 118 after 5. Tim going to cover his spare. Nicely done. So after 5 frames in the open division, Tim Clemens trails Anthony Sanders 96 to 119. Zach is stepping up on lane 14 in the 5th, working on a double. pulled that one just a little bit. And goes the Brooklyn side of the head pin, leaves the 3, 6, 10. That 10 pin again. All right, don't chop this. All right, not the preferred way, but he does cover. That gives him a spare in the 5th. Currently trailing Rafe Barone with 96 to 118. And Tim covers his 10 pin. All right, Zach up on 13. Trailing by 22.
We don't even want to swap body parts.
All right, gets the light hit there for striking the 6th. Anthony up on 12, working on a spare. Oh, and that 6 pin just kind of rattles and rolls in the gutter. Leaves Anthony with a 10 pin to pick up. You'd think this place was all-star. Oh, and Rafe gets away with a high strike there. That gives him a strike in the 6th. And Anthony covers his spare. Oh, and Rafe almost had the 7-10. Fortunately, the 7 falls, left only with the 10 pin to pick up. Anthony stepping up on lane 11, working on a spare. Ooh, that one was high and tight. That's a strike in the 7th. That ball went over about 22 at the arrows. Playing that real tight inside line. Rafe to cover his 10 pin. Oh, and he misses it. Oh, goodness. That is an open in the 7th for Rafe and cracks the door open for Zach. All right, Tim needs a strike right here. Working on a spare. Gets that one out. Comes in light and leaves a 7. I was kind of hoping for that pin to roll around. It did, but it died in the gutter. A nice strike there by Zach. That doubles him up. So now, after 7, he trails 136 to 156. But Rafe does have that open. And Tim covers the spare. That's 3 9 counts in a row for Tim. Trailing 134 to 158. All right, Zach can take the lead right here. If he gets a strike, he'll take over the lead. He's walking it. He likes it, pumps his fist. That gives him 3 in a row and the lead. Oh, and Tim carries the 2-9. I think that was the 2-9 or the 4-9. Didn't quite see it, but it was a split there for a second. He does get the carry. A much needed strike for Tim. in the 8th. And Rafe comes back after that open and gets a strike. All right, Anthony gets another strike, so that's a double, and now he leads 178 to 154. Max score for Tim is 234. Anthony can shoot 268. Rafe gets a nice strike there. That gives him a double going into the 10th. Good foundation frame. Zach stepping up on 14 with 3 in a row. Anthony stepping up on 11 and going into his 9th, working on a double. He's getting away with some of them high strikes. That gives him 3 in a row. Great foundation frame. Tim absolutely needs a strike here. Oh, Zach goes Brooklyn. Not what he needs. Leaves the 6-7-10 split. Ouch. Gives the lead right back to Rafe. And that 10 pin just really had Tim's number today. And Zach tries to cover, but he's left with the 7 pin and an opening the 9th. He can strike for 221. Tim covers his spare. Max now for Tim is 214. So basically pretty much any pin count for Anthony in the 10th, and he'll lock up the title.
You want that?
Yeah.
I won't be home until Friday night, so.
Okay. And Zach gets his first strike in the 10th.
This is for singles title. Yes. Number 2. Number 2 overall.
All right, so Zach's ball went high on the head pin. Leaves the 6-10. He can cover this to finish with 211. Rafe still needs to show up in the 10th frame. Tim's going to finish with a 204. And I'm assuming he's going to cover the spare. Oh, and Zach almost chops it, but he does cover that to finish with a 211. And Tim covers his, finishes with a game of 204. He'll finish in 2nd place and take home a check for $360. And for Anthony, this is his first singles title, his 2nd open title overall, and he will take home a check for $445. So congratulations, Anthony, on your first singles win. And that first strike in the 10th for Rafe will lock up the title for him. So Rafe will finish in 1st place, take home a check for $260. And Zach, don't hang your head, dude, man. You bowled well today. You're going to finish in 2nd place and take home a check for $220. And Anthony throws that one in the ditch to finish with a game of 256.
It was a 4 minute. He could have got one.
I want to make this one too. Isn't that cute? Oh, when I know it's like wonky, but it keeps showing up on my Facebook.
All right, so Ray finishes with a game of 245. All right, and we'll be right back to hand out the checks. In your John's Classic Auto 205 and under division, Ray Barone defeats Zach Cox 245-211 to be your under division champion. In your James and Associates Open, Anthony Sanders defeats Tim Clemens 256-211 to win his first Open singles title, his second KSBO title overall.
His nephew's daughter.
We had to keep it tight. I don't know.
He's got him.
As soon as it was kicking 10 pounds, I was like, that's small.
Do you talk to Randy at all during the week, or you know what I mean?
Real trophies at your house.
No, they're still at Evergreen Trophy because I didn't get off work in time. So they're sitting at Evergreen Trophy right now. So we're going to hand them the pins. They can hold the pins.
No, do you talk to him during the week or in between?
Not typically.
No.
I can.
Well, no. I was just gonna see. We leave on Friday. Jimmy told you that.
Yep.
But you guys still have 2 outstanding invoices. So you have 2 outstanding invoices, one for pins and one for the last night's banners. I don't know if he needs new invoices. I don't. Yeah, I figured he wouldn't know either. But
If I was doing that much of his job as well, then I would know. But
no. Well, do you think I should just send him new invoices or?
let me ask him first.
Okay.
All right, time to hand out some money. And down on the lanes we have our Hall of Famer, Mr. Vern Elkhart, to hand out checks. And assisting him, the beautiful Mrs. Clemens. In your Jones Classic Auto 205 and under division, finishing in 5th place for $140, Alex Smith. Finishing in 4th place for $160, Becky Gratzer. Finishing in 3rd place for $190, Hannah Sutton. Finishing in 2nd place for $220, Zach Cox. And your winner of the John's Classic Auto 205 and under division for $260, Mr. Rafe Barone.
sure.
Yeah.
Can you take it stage left? Por favor, thank you. In your James and Associates Open, finishing in 5th place for $250, Keith Beck.
Thanks very much.
Finishing in 4th place for $280, Jim Monahan. Finishing in 3rd place for $315, Eric Lundgren. Finishing in 2nd place for $360, Tim Clemens. It's with the right person, isn't it? She's driving, right? And your winner of the James and Associates Open Division for his first singles title from $445, Anthony Sanders.
Sandy Hood. We thought you had a good shot because Cody was here to take it.
All right, so that's going to do it for us here up at Laurel Lanes in Port Angeles. Congratulations to our tournament champions, Rafe Barone in the Johns Classic Auto 205 and under, and Anthony Sanders in the James and Associates Open. Our next tournament is in 2 weeks. It'll be the KSBO Swiss Trios at All-Star Lanes on March 9th and 10th. Don't forget, March 10th is Daylight Saving Time. Spring forward 1 hour. Get your entry forms in. I will post a reserve spot on Facebook, so be looking for that. In the meantime, this is Leo Finare, Vice President of KSBO and Party Foul Productions. We will see you on the next broadcast. Thank you. Have a good night.